Okay, I'm starting a new one. The last one I finished up with, I finished it up with me going out on the playgrounds out of school. Except that Lego Lego grade school up there on Second Avenue was school, the grade school I went to. I spent 8 years there, I guess it was, from the time I was, however, I don't really remember when I guess you're 5, 6 years old, 6 years old when you started. I'd be 14 or 15 when I got out of that place. But anyway, going out to talking about the last, I finished up with the last one. I was walking out to the playgrounds and I saw Lester and Chester out there. They were playing some either, I don't remember whether it was baseball or soccer, but I wasn't going to play as long as they were playing because I just had a feeling if they ever done to me what they're doing to them other people, we're going to be in trouble, and I don't want no trouble, you know. So I'll go over to the action bar and I'd sit the swing by myself. And anyway, I went out there, make a long story short, I walked out there one day and I looked around and they weren't, and old Lester and Chester wasn't on the field. They were playing baseball, but they weren't there. And so I thought, well, heck, maybe they're sick or they didn't come to school. I wouldn't be lucky enough for them to have transferred. Anyway, I went ahead and joined in. They let me get on one of the sides, and I played in the field a little bit. And come time for me, our side got up, and I got to bat, and I hit the ball far enough to where I made it second base. Well, unbeknownst to me, Lester and Chester showed up and got on the other team, and I didn't even notice it. Well, when I got to second base, one of them, I don't know which one it was. I never could tell them apart and didn't care if I ever learned how. But anyway, one of them run up and pushed me off the base and touched me with the ball and said, "You're out." And boy, Lord, I pulled a daddy on him. Boy, I hit him. It busted his nose. I don't know if it broke it or not, but it was bleeding like a stuck hog. And he turned his back, started crying like a little bitty baby, and here come his brother. And I said, oh, God, I'm into it now. He running up, and he was stupid. He had his hands down beside his belt, and he was getting up in my face, and boy, I whacked him harder than I did his brother. And darn if he didn't turn his back and start whining like a little baby. Yeah, you hit me. And everybody, including myself, couldn't believe how a chicken them two little bullies were. The only reason I'm telling you, I ain't telling you this trying to make myself look like I'm a badass or something, It ain't that at all. The only reason I'm telling you this is because it goes back to when those two kids were making fun of this kid up by the water fountain because he had 6 fingers. He had 2 little fingers on each hand. And the reason that those 2 boys didn't jump on me because I just whooped 2 of the big bullies about 2 weeks earlier than that. And there's more to this story because once them 2 dudes turned their back on me and they started crying like little babies, Hey, you hit me, you hurt my nose, or some crap, And I thought, oh my God, I turned and I looked back up to the building, and sure as the world, there was a playground teacher standing beside the building up there. And I said, oh my God, I done seen my dad whoop my brother and my cousin. I don't know if I told you or not, but one of my cousins has come to stay with my family, and Joe Murray, my dad's sister's boy, he come to stay with us for a while. My dad used to take a leather strap after them. They was always getting in trouble. And I used to stand around and listen to my dad whoop the devil out of them, and I thought, oh my God, oh Lord of mercy, I'm going to get sent home from school, and my dad's going to get a hold of me, and I'm going to get that razor strap on my behind till I can't sit down, But with all glories of glories, the teacher saw everything that happened, and she just turned around and walked back around the other side of the building. And I thought, oh my God, am I going to be lucky enough that she ain't going to come out here and cause me all kinds of trouble, Anyway, I want to tell you about that because that's kind of that's kind of important. I mean, one of those things that happened to me. I remember real well. I thought, boy, when I hit, I couldn't help myself. I mean, when that first one of them brothers went up, I don't know whether it was Lester or Chester. I don't know which one was what, and don't care and never do care. But whichever one come up and hit me, boy, there was a sucker punch on my part, and because he didn't have no idea, nobody else had ever done that to him. So he wasn't in any protective mood whatsoever. He just stuck his face right up there where I could get a good lick at it, boy. And I want you to know, I don't know if I broke his nose or not. And I hope I did, But, boy, it's bleeding like a stuck hog, I'll tell you that. See, the difference between me and them city boys was that even though I was just a little kid, even on the farm, one of my jobs on the farm, I never did a whole heck of a lot of milking when I was that young, but I did feed the calves. And there's a way that you can get a calf to start. A calf doesn't normally drink. A little old bitty calf, first thing he wants to do, he wants to suck his mama's tit, But to get them to drink, you have to put 2 fingers in there. You get your fingers down in the milk. You got a bucket there, and you get milk on your 2 fingers, and you stick them in his mouth, and he'll start sucking on them fingers, and you kind of spread your fingers apart, and then you let his hand come down and get him to where he gets his nose into the milk and try to teach him how to drink rather than suck. I had that all figured out, but that's what my dad had me to do. I wasn't big enough to be able to milk a cow, but I could feed them little calves, So that's what I did, and of course, the main thing that I worried about when I was feeding them calves, boy, I sure didn't want to spill a bucket, because I had seen my dad. I told you about. I don't remember whether I did or not, but I went with my dad a couple of times when I was real young, and watched him when he used to have a milk route where he sold raw milk to stores, grocery stores. But by the time I got big enough to help out really in the farm, well, he had been put out of business, where the law wouldn't let him sell raw milk no more. So we had to sell it to creameries, and I think he was selling it to Oak Farms when he first started. I can't remember who it was exactly, because I was too young. There's no way a little old kid my age would be able to lift a 10-gallon can of milk, So I couldn't do much around I couldn't milk a cow, and I couldn't lift I couldn't wash no bucket. I wasn't tall enough. The vats and things. They had 3 vats. They had a vat where you first wash the thing, and then you had a BK powder. It's a detergent. It's an insecticide of some kind. They called it BK. Then you had a rinsing powder. Had a rinsing vat. There was 3 vats. Had to put them cans through. You had to wash all that stuff. There's a heck of a lot more to dairy farm. See, a lot of people think about a dairy farm. They just think about milking cows. But you not only got to be a dairy farmer, you got to be a farmer. You got to be able to plant stuff. I know you section your farm off into 20 and 30 acre patches where you could minimum 60 cows. You got to have something for them to eat all the time. Plus you got to raise enough to where you can bale it to where you put it in the hay barn, so you can feed them during the wintertime, because there ain't nothing grows in the wintertime. You know, and if you got to buy all your feed to feed them cows, you ain't gonna make much money out of milking them. You know? So it means that you got farmers. They make a lot of fun out of farmers, and I just want. It doesn't bother me one bit. In fact, I enjoy it. I hope all you folks that thinks farmers are. If you got, I'm gonna tell you right now. I rode to town in the back of sitting on the tailgate of a turnip truck, and I am proud of it. I wouldn't have it any other way. It was a life that I led that made me be what I am today, which ain't nothing as far as you're concerned, but it's a hell of a lot as far as I'm concerned, because I like myself, I'm the. I don't sit around and mope because I didn't do what I didn't make the goal in life I wanted to do. I never really had a goal. My main important thing was that I wanted to take care of myself. I didn't want nobody. I never. One thing I can say is I never took no food stamps, and I never took no welfare checks. I always had some kind of a job. You know, I got a lot to say about these jobs one of these days. I think you get a big kick out of it. The only reason I'm telling you all this stuff is everybody laughs about, everybody makes fun of farmers. I mean, and especially dairy farmers and stuff. But I got news for you. You people just keep on 'cause we don't care. I assume that all the rest of dairy farmers are like my dad and myself. We don't care what you call us. You go on and live your so-called sophisticated life, and of course I had to live part that way myself because I couldn't. I would have been a dairy farmer if I hadn't had a brother, but I had an older brother, and he was, my dad gave it to him, and eventually they both went out of business. My brother turned out to be a drunkard, and that's another story all by itself. He drank himself to death, and his dad had to eventually sell all his cows and stuff. And I had been working with the time they got around to doing that. I had been with IBM maybe over 10 years, I guess, on 10, 15 years. I don't know. I wasn't about to go back to be a dairy farmer. I didn't know nothing about dairy farming. God, there I was, had 15 years invested in this outfit. In 30 years, I'd get a pension, and so I didn't. I don't think my dad wanted to. I think he was kind of tired of it. Him and my brother, it turned out to be a drunkard, and in fact, I wound up. My dad got me to take the milk off to the creamery. By the time I was old enough to where I could lift a 10-gallon can of milk, and I'd take a can or two. I don't remember, sometimes 2 or 3 cans of milk to the creamery. And at the time we were selling them. I think when I first started, we were selling them to Tennessee Dairy, but after a while, God, I can't think of the name of this other creamy place. There was another company that I can't think of the name of the darn thing. My old ticker mind just don't work good sometimes. I sure hate it, but I can't do nothing about it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I wound up taking the milk, and Dad and my brother went out of the dairy business, and I started off talking about these troubles that I had in grade school. I had another fight there one time, and I'll tell you the truth. I don't remember what started this fight, but I wound up after school going out to the front of the school by the flagpole, and I remember I was going to meet some kid out there, and we were going to have a fight. And I don't remember what that was all about or what caused it, but I'll tell you what, that old boy taught me a lesson, because I took off my coat, and he took off his coat, and we doubled up our fists, and he pulled out a knife. Boy, let me tell you, that ended my tough guy act. I no longer wanted to be the toughest guy in school, because I didn't want to get no. I don't remember how I got out of that. Sorry about that, but I had to call. I don't remember how I got out of that. I don't know whether I had to turn tail or what. I just don't remember. It probably didn't work out too good for me, because I wasn't going to get no knife fight. Oh Lord, that's the end of this one. Well, I'll think up something else to talk about in the next one. I'll just let this one stop right here.